A Lifeline Animal Project says its Fulton and DeKalb County shelters saw record animal surrenders in the past 2 months. In Fulton County, there was a 30% increase last month compared to June 2024. That's the highest intake since 2017. Dog surrenders were up 281% in May. Cat surrenders increased 71% in June. DeKalb saw a 22% increase in pet surrenders last month compared to 2024. Dog surrenders were up there 125%. Cats were up 73%. Shelter's hoping to find homes for these animals, especially cats and kittens. It's holding a special adoption promotion through the end of August. You can adopt 2 cats for the price of 1 at any of Lifeline's 3 shelters.